Okay, let's go.
All right. Well, welcome everybody to yet another episode of the Data Chronicles. My name is Ed, also known as the Data. With me, I got my good friend Kevin Tibbett. He works for the Columbia Fireflies, a great organization. My good friend that you know, Mr. Donnie Wise. He is a season ticket holder for that team, and of course, he's purchased many things from your merchandise. You are the, and I want to get this right. You're the director of merchandise, and what was the full title for you again?
Operations, director of merchandise.
In operations. That's what it was. That's what I was missing. Okay. So Kevin, if you don't mind, I would love for you to give me a little bit of a background on you so that way everybody gets to know a little bit about you, where you come from, what did you do before accepting the role of director of operations and merchandising with the Fireflies.
Yeah, well, so short story first, like I came from Portland, Maine prior, worked with the Portland Sea Dogs prior to taking this position and moving down to South Carolina. But the long story of things, it started in college about 12 years ago. I was a marketing intern at the Division I school. And then I picked up a part-time job working in merchandise aside of that while going to school full-time at Oregon State. And one thing just kind of led to another. I just came in for some part-time stuff, and then next thing you know, I was coming in during the off season or in between transitional periods of semesters and whatnot. And it just built and built and built into being a little bit more. While doing that, mixing it up against different sports. The company that owned us also owned a bunch of different NHL teams, NBA teams, MLS, and they took ownership of the merchandise for the Portland Timbers back in 2013. And so I kind of got an opportunity to go up there and help work with those guys, help make sure their footings are on board, or if they needed extra hands to go up there on special events or nights when they needed assistance. So that's kind of where it started. And then after that, I kind of was out of sports after 2015. But I did freelance graphic work. I've been a graphic designer since that time period of college until pretty much I still kind of do it now, but we could just say for about 10 years. Became a small business owner, did some stuff, did merchandise myself at that point, did custom graphic tees and tour merchandise for musicians. Some mostly Bay Area and LA artists. You might know a couple of them. I don't know how adverse your hip hop listening is, but like the Hieroglyphics, pretty well known. They have a lot of good stuff in like the earlier Tony Hawk games and some other things. And then the Living Legends, and I've done some stuff for Afro Man and just a plethora of names. I mean, probably a bunch of them.
The one that just popped to me was when you said it was Afro Man. I had the CD. It was one of the CDs and I want to say that I was in high school or like when that came out, and man, was that a great CD, dude.
I've seen him live too. Like he's a good performer, even as old as he's getting. He's good.
Still to this day?
Oh yeah, I saw him. I think it was like, I want to say like 5 years ago. I mean, it's not too recent, but it's recent. But yeah, he was good. He's a fun guy.
I mean, if he does have the song, "Cause I Got High," I mean, I don't think he cares one bit at all.
Of course. But that's just some people I did some tour stuff with. Some of it goes deeper, multiple tours, multiple individual shows. I've done some art too. I did an art piece for Too Short back in the day when I was in college. He came out and did a concert, and I got to meet him and did an exchange. That was a pretty good experience. And then I did something similar with E40, but it was much earlier. But yeah, I've dabbled in the music industry on the merchandise side and graphic and, doing marketing materials and stuff for those guys as well. But leading out of that, COVID happens and venues shut down. going out for concerts shut down. And then some of these places permanently shut down. Some of the artists kind of started looking at alternatives as well for jobs. As so did I. It kind of really beat me down, and I did so much work to get to that position that we didn't know how long this was going to go on for, or how quickly it was going to pick back up. And so I started looking at sports again, and was like, I did a lot and went into doing that. Did a 4 to 8 month course through I think it was like NYU. They had a sports management, global management course,
Hmm.
and I busted out in like 2 weeks. Yeah, I mean, I spent 3 hours every morning and 3 hours every night for 2 weeks, and I just hashed through every project. There's a couple nights I probably spent more, and at that point, I realized that like I have the experience and knowledge to do some of this stuff, and so I got back into it. Worked at the Mavericks League, independent baseball, formerly known as the San Francisco Giants low A affiliate with the Volcanoes. And so that was a fun time, good experience. Got to meet a lot of good people and to build and grow. And then after a couple of years of that, was just looking for the next big opportunity. And there's a lot of good opportunities out west, but there's not as many. I'd definitely say there's more organizations in the sports world east of the Rockies, east of the Mississippis. And so we just, took opportunities and found our way in Maine with the Portland Sea Dogs. And so then, like I said, short story prior, started there and then came down here.
And it's funny you say that because obviously we all know, and I'm going back to 2020 when everything happened. We were all affected. We thought it was going to be 2 weeks that we go back into the office. I never went back into an office setting after 2020 because then I started working 100% remote from home. And I remember really looking at all of the baseball leagues, and believe the Maverick League was one of the ones that was going through the pandemic. They were still playing and all of that, but it was all enclosed, right? It was like no fans or anything like that, but it was like they were all there, and it was an interesting time. And I remember the Volcanoes, the Campesinos. I remember all of that, right? Obviously, the Mavericks itself, but it was like, it was a cool time, scary, but it was like, all right, we got some teams that we can follow. And obviously, as you already know, they were one of the ones that were let go when minor league baseball came in and chopped everything and said, "Up, you guys are out."
Yeah.
And this grew.
I call it the mass exodus. I mean,
Hmm.
teams, I think it was 43 exactly. And some of them I don't think needed to be cut, but decisions were made, and that all happened. So it was tough. And yeah, they did run, and they tried to function, I think, in 2020 for a little while. But then 2021, Oregon was a very strict place, and you didn't know if it was going to open, how far it was going to open up. And so we actually had very strict things put into place to be prepared to, I forgot pods. They call them pods in Oregon. And you had to create pods, and only so many people could be in pods, and so on and so forth. And then they had to come in through individual gates and leave out those gates, and like stuff had to be brought. We had it all planned out, and then literally days before like the first game, the state was like, "Nah, you don't have to do that." And we're like, we just wasted. I mean, it wasn't a waste because we were ready to go, but like we just spent like weeks of time preparing for that, and it was just like we ended up not having to do it. Thank you. I mean, it's amazing, but it was
You
good.
prepare for all of that, right? You prepare for it. You're like, all right, can at least we use part of it because you have everything here ready to go.
Yeah. So it was a blessing. Sometimes it is good to put in that work though, because now or you do learn things that you could apply or change for the future, even if it's on a wider scale. So it wasn't for nothing. It just sometimes feels like that.
It does. It really does. Okay, so I'm very intrigued by this because you said like I'm running my own business and all of that. Obviously, your business was affected by 2020, right?
Yeah, actually, I had a couple businesses, but my graphic stuff with my music was impacted probably the most.
Hmm.
But I also I owned an art gallery and a frame shop, and it was affected, but for some reason in Oregon, it was considered, I was an essential worker. So we still could have people come in, but through pre-scheduling. But yeah, the graphic and the merchandising and that stuff that I was doing on the side as a freelancer was
Yeah.
the most.
Interesting. No offense, like I would have never thought that you would be like, frame and all of that business would be considered an essential worker. Hey, listen, power to you. We were able to make a living.
Oregon is an interesting place, to say the least.
Yeah. Let's go with that. I've always wanted to visit. It's one of my states that I've always wanted to go to, so it's on my list to go visit.
100% beautiful, 100% worth it. If you do go, let me know. I'll try to direct you in whatever way you're going to hit some hot spots or some very beautiful scenic views.
I will let you know for sure. All right, so let's move to your time with the Portland Sea Dogs. Right, it's one of the most iconic logos out there. Like everybody knows when you see it, it's the Portland Sea Dogs. Right, you see that logo and you know what it is. How was your time there? Like, I mean, I know that's like you're moving from the West Coast to the East Coast, right, with your family, and you're going to go and work for a minor league team all the way out on the opposite side of the United States.
It was a trip. It was, I mean, we got there in 10 and a half days. We took our time, 3 kids and a Jeep Wrangler. Um, and it was a good time down. I mean, we didn't just drive the whole way there. So we got to enjoy some scenic routes and kind of hit the Oregon Trail backwards. So that was an enjoyable part of it. Actually, is the transition was pretty seamless when it came to just getting out there and not feeling too dragged out.
Mhm.
But I mean, once we got there, I got there probably, what was it, like, I think 2 weeks before the season started. So I had a lot to do in a very little time. Um, but we made it happen. I rearranged the store layout, got things working out, maximizing product on the floor, maximizing a routine to bring customers in and off. Because during games, I was told to expect that, we have a very supportive community and very large crowds throughout the year, and whatnot. And that first year we had probably, I think it was 22 sellouts if you count the banana games. So yeah, it was it was it was busy, but I find the games to be a little bit more enjoyable. All the hard work happens prior, but since I didn't have an off season, um, building up into it, I did spend a lot more time during the day making sure things were regulatory and prepared for each game. But once the gates open, I think that's when all the hard work rolls forward and kind of runs itself. As long as you have a well trained and very consistent team, and in Portland, I had that. I mean, I had probably 12 to 16 staff, and about give it take any night, probably 8 to 11 of them were working in a 500 square foot shop. So it was fun. We moved quick and we moved fast, and we did everything we could to keep the customers happy and to see as much of the game as possible.
What's up, everybody? Thank you for taking the time to listen, to watch this podcast. It is greatly appreciated. I am sorry that I'm interrupting the middle of your podcast, but it is for very good reason. And the reason for that is because I wanted to let you know about a couple of shows that we have going on with the Data Chronicles. Every Tuesday and Thursdays from 8 p.m., actually, 8 p.m. until actually whenever we're done, it is the DHC Sports Show. We talked about all things sports on there, okay? So from baseball, basketball, we do some football, all of that, right? Join Eric Prophet, join Virgil Brooks, Patrick Larson and Donnie Weiss, of course, myself, right? Every Tuesday and Thursday, we talk about that. All right. Number two, it is a newer show that we have going on. It's called Break Even Sports. And that's where we talk about the things that are not in the popular world, right? For FCS football, right? And NCAA football, the lower divisions, FCS, Division 2 and 3. We talk about some soccer. That's right. We do talk about soccer. And then we also talk about Formula One. I love Formula One and Indy Race. So there you go. We get that. And then a brand new show that I wanted to tell you. It is regarding Monday mornings, and this is a very specific, very niche show. Okay, it is. It's called Breakfast Takes, in which myself and Donnie Weiss, we talk about all the sports going on in North and South Carolina and the Carolina. So it's called Breakfast Takes. Okay, so just wanted to let you know that there's these three shows. They're all live. You can also catch it on my YouTube channel as well as Instagram and wherever you get your podcasts. So thank you for listening. And now back to the episode. Something you said that intrigues me, and I'm sure you did the same with when you moved down to Columbia, is store layout, right? I can just envision just you standing in like either a corner or in the front of the store and just looking at everything, the flow with customers, without customers, all that. Like I'm very intrigued and how you manage, with the Sea Dogs. How did you approach that arrangement of the whole store again?
Yeah, well, when I originally got there, or just before I got there, they had already started maybe talking about rearranging the store. So it was a little bit in pieces so I could kind of do my thing. But I mean, originally it was a grab and go kind of shop behind the counter and all that kind of stuff. So there was very limited space for the product. And what I did is I just opened it up into a normal store. People could walk around, touch and pick up and grab and feel, try things on, and then if something maybe couldn't be found on the floor, you know, see if we could find somebody that can find it in the back to restock it and keep the wheels turning. But there, like I said, it was a 500 square foot shop, so I had very limited X access across all angles of that space to work with, and so we had to find ways to go vertical. And so we got like some cubby systems, which aren't always ideal in shopping because the less folding you have to do, the better. But in this case scenario, it worked really well for us because we were able to probably double the product that we had on the floor because of these cubby systems. Youth, it fit perfect. We could fit. They had four cubbies on each one, so like we had youth small to youth XL, and then just below that you had four more cubbies, so you didn't have to have the same shirt. So we were able to put 10, 20 different youth items out and to create variety. For adults, we were able to just go from like adult small to 4X, which also opened up a lot of opportunity of what we offered our customers. Where there's always those people that are wanting big and tall or larger sizes, and like you just usually don't or can't find time or space for it. And so that really opened up those avenues. And then we had a hat wall, which I love the hat walls, as you probably do as well. We had a very extensive fitted hat wall, and then we had our adjustable hats in two different corners of the store. But I went from having nine fitted hat options to having, probably by the time I left, we had probably almost 28. Well, because they have a theme night every night, and then I brought in custom hats like GCP and like custom color schemes and stuff like that. And so that opened up like a whole nother dozen hats on top of what we already had.
Gotcha.
So that was exciting. I did bring some hats down, but I don't think I brought any of those actual hats down.
You brought in custom ones, but let me ask you this, and then we'll move into what you're doing here in a little bit. But I'm very into because the Portland Sea Dogs have, by far one of my favorite when they came out, Copa identities.
Hey, wait a second. Wait a second.
Yes, that one, the alces, right there. That is actually one of my favorite. I actually have that in a dad hat in that same color scheme right there. Look at the gloves, the even the way that it is set up. It's such a cool design. I absolutely love it. Like the way that he has like kind of like a tattooed face, right?
The arrows, and it's it's subtle though, because it's like two-tone magenta. So you got a pink with like the shiny pink, and so like you see it with the shadowing of reflection, but like you don't like from afar. It's just solid, right? It
Yeah,
plays.
and I love that detail about it. Like, I mean, it's such a cool little subtle details. Obviously, you got with the rack rig, you have it'll set up as a glove, and I'm like, man, when I saw that, I was like, I need this hat like yesterday.
Story. I bought this hat my first season working at the Mavericks League because of this hat. And I got so intrigued and so inspired by Copa hats that I went out and I ordered some. One being the Mazzana Luchadors from Fort Wayne, one being the Alcez hat, and there was a couple others. I can't remember which ones I ordered at that time, but I ordered like four of them. Yeah, no, that it really sets the tone. It's a shame that they don't have it anymore, and maybe one day they'll bring it back. Um, Even if it's not a Copa, which I hope it would be, even if it's not a Copa, if they recolored it and revisited it as maybe a different theme night, it's very main. It's very main. So
I'm a little disappointed because I'm on their website right now. It's there, but they only have it in one size, which is 7 7/8. And I am not a 7 7/8. I am a 7 3/8. And it's disappointing because it's such a cool the color, right? Like the baby blue with that magenta color, right? And then the yellow on the eyelids. It's such a cool little details that I love about this hat. And also and the one thing I like, a lot of people like to take it off the New Era logo, but I like the fact that the on this logo on this cap, the New Era is the same color as the brim, the same magenta color.
well, and the eyelets are yellow, the
Mhm.
buttons, and then they got the navy with the magenta on the back, or the black. It's black. Sorry, it looked navy for a second. Um, well, and another good hat they have is just their try and true, their retro hat. You know, the staple, the teal and black. Like I could tell you what, like they never could have switched colors, and nobody would have cared. Being a Red Sox affiliate, that they love this. If you're a real Sea Dogs fan, or you want to be in the know, and you're in New England, these are the colors you want to be wearing. Like you can't go to from Boston to Connecticut to New Hampshire. Like you will find more Sea Dog stuff than any other minor league team that they have in that area, except for maybe in Mass. You'll see some Wolf Sox stuff, but that's still the Red Sox. So
That's interesting because one, I love it. I think it's a great color. Like those are the Marlins colors, right?
correct.
And you want to see that, right? I get it. Like you're a Red Sox affiliate. I get it. At the very least, they're not named after the parent club, which it's a big no-no in my book. Like, don't be named after a minor league, your a major league parent. Just don't do that. That's not cool.
Well, and luckily for the Woo Sox, like they go by the Woo Sox, their nickname. They are known as the Worcester Red Sox, but they go by Woo Sox, and I mean that I think will become their permanent name in the near future. But I get that. Like Bricktown Dodgers, very very respectable organization, but now they've stepped away from that, and now they're just the OKC Comets.
Hmm.
I get it. Um, but yeah, back real quick back to some of that stuff. Like you just kind of like I think every place has its own unique energy and issues, or things that need solutions, problem solving. Like not one ballpark's the same, right? So a lot of them. One thing I will say a lot of ballparks have issues with is storage space. And I would say even though I had a 500 square foot store in Portland, I had probably about 800 square feet of storage space just beyond that. That like would have been nice to become part of the store, but like I don't have to go off site to get to my stuff. I didn't have to like we had a nice little section of storage in the back. So, and there's a lot of ball clubs that don't get that. So I was very thankful and blessed with that. And by my time leaving, I opened up a second shop that was probably about the same square footage. So we had two 500 square foot stores, keeping that storage space. And then in the new PDL clubhouse that they built, we got I think it was another 800 square feet or 1,000 square feet of storage space with high ceilings. So the vertical capacity was much bigger than what we had in our other storage space. So we did build and we did expand on that stuff there, which made big differences when it comes to ordering and what you can have and hold on hand and all different stuff. So
Let me ask you, because you said something that I want to touch on, and then I promise we'll move into what you do right now.
that's fine.
You opened up a second store. Now, was this an offsite store? Was it nearby? Tell me more about this, because I'm seeing more and more of this where the team has their team store in the ballpark, but then they also have a secondary store. I believe also the Trash Pandas have a big store that's not in on the ballpark premises. It's actually, I think it's like at some like mall strip or something like that. But like, you guys do the same thing, or how did you guys do the same thing, or how was that?
No, it's actually not the same thing. Another example of what you're talking about, and it's not as far away, but Greenville Drive has their team store, their main team store just outside the gate. It's still on, but I think they're building a new one across the street actually, which will be very fun and interesting to see how that goes. But no, it was on site. So we had a satellite shop just down the hallway or down the concourse from where our main shop was. And it was like a little pop-up like cabinet. And, we had a little countertop and we sold a smaller selection out there. And we traded that into concessions to take over what was called the Portland room. Just to open it up as a second shop in the store, because in the stadium, because we would get like 500 plus paying customers, which paying customers doesn't tell you exactly the physical people that were with them. That could be a dad buying hats and shirts for their wife and daughter or son. Like they could have 5 people with them, but it registers only as one person for a sale, no matter how much items they buy, right? So we had 500 plus paying customers coming in a night. And so we were looking at opportunities of how could we make our lines shorter, even though our lines moved very fluid. Like I said, we moved quick, we moved fast. Our customer service was key. And we always wanted people to not miss the game, but make sure they had a great shopping experience and could get the things they wanted. So, to get to that many people in that small of a shop, the line is always moving, but how can we minimize that line, but maybe increase those numbers? And so we opened a shop on the other side of the concourse, which is not very far. It's just on first base before you get outside of the physical indoors and goes outside before the expo center. And we opened it up before I left. It was one of the first last things I did that we opened up in opening week for that season, and it did a lot of good things for them. I got to hear about some of their how well they did this season, and it did help. It did make a difference once people started realizing it was there. It was so people. The ballpark's over 30 years old, and the shop's always been in one spot. And so to find out there's a second location that's like that, it does take a moment to get people comfortable and to realize it's there. But yeah, it made a big impact.
I like that. I like that a lot, because one, as a merchandise guy, right? As a guy who is collectible of a lot of dad hats, it's cool to see the availability. And you're right, by the way. I forgot to say this to you, but like, you were 100% right. I am a massive fan of hat walls. Seeing hat wall is one of the coolest things in any ballpark, whether NFL, NBA, it doesn't matter. As long as there's a hat wall, you get to see it and you're like, man, that's awesome.
If you go on my LinkedIn, I've posted a couple of my hat walls at in Portland. You have to go back, obviously, to 2023 or no, 2024 to see some of them. And I think I posted the hat wall in Columbia as well. But if not, I can always send you a couple if it's something that you really do enjoy. Visual merchandising is a big key, and I think it's underplayed a lot. Being able to lay out a store properly and to create hierarcy amongst product or highlight certain things that are become focus points that kind of make you dance and move around the shop in an appropriate manner, or like the first thing you see when you come through the door, where is it and why is it so important? I think those kind of things are very valuable, and I mean we live by those things daily when we go shopping just day to day. So
And that's why, and this is going to take me back, this is why I love going into Lids or any other sports store because of their hat wall, right? And I could spend hours. You can ask my wife, and she would get annoyed that I would just in that small space too. I could spend a long time looking at hats, and I would not get bored.
floor to ceiling, window to window.
Yep. And then they have the now, which is cool, right? Because now with with technology and everything, there's no longer this big register. It's just a small little thing. They got little handheld. All you have to do is just they'll tap, off you go. There's no cash, nothing like that.
Before you said that, I was gonna say, and it's amazing in that small store how they found to put an embroidery machine in every one. But you just let the cat out of the bag, right? Like the kiosk, the point of sale system is just so much smaller that they don't need all that counter space to do it anymore. So
Innovation is what it is innovation. And you gotta, like you said, and something that just keeps ringing in my head is you have to maximize your space, right? What can we do to maximize the space? As floor to ceiling, let's put nothing but hats. There's no windows because it is all in malls, and it's like you gotta maximize you. Oh, we want embroidery, okay, well we gotta take out the big register that we no longer need from the 1990s and get more with the times.
I tell people all this all the time. So as an artist, not just a designer, but an artist, I take inspiration from a lot of different things and try to apply them to other things. I learned that in sports, discipline and all that. Just because you're playing a sport doesn't mean there's not things that you learn from it to apply to others. But like prime example, tiny homes, like these people take these tiny spaces and they find every inch of empty space and try to create a storage space out of it, or a cabinet or something that they can put something there, or equipment that runs something that doesn't take on extra space. And I think sometimes we underutilize that mindset when it comes to like even a normal size home or a bigger space, that like there is a lot of wasted space. And just because you have the space, what can you do to maximize it in those ways? And so that's something that like I would never live in a tiny home, although I mean I'm sure we all have maybe thought about it once or twice and gone, maybe that would be fun, or have a little tiny home cabin off in the no man's land for a beautiful scenic area. But like I do like watching them for that reason, the unique different ways that they find to not waste space without it being over cluttered or whatnot. So I take that to mind when I look at my store for visual merchandise.
Interesting you say that because one, I watch a lot of like on TV, a lot of those little tiny homes shows and everything. And you're right. I don't think I would ever be able to. I'm 6'2", like I'm not a small guy, right? So like I would not be able to fit in something like that just because it would just I couldn't fit. It's just simple as that. But seeing how they utilize every inch of that little home, right? You got stairs, okay, but under the stairs we're going to put shelving units, we're going to put drawers, we're going to put pull-out drawers, so that way we'll be able to get more things in there. Under the bed, yep, pull out drawers as well, more. Or you can lift the bed up, right, and then have that all as storage and things like that. And you have to, and I'm glad that you said that, you have to use things that are not sports related in order for you to, bring that into your store.
And I do that with a lot of different things. And it's not only just the visual merchandising side. I do that in the storage. Like I said, in Portland, 500 square foot shop, you got to find ways to maximize or to be creative in creating more opportunities to sell more items or more of the same items. And um, also to be able to replicate that in your storage space, if you have one, makes life so much easier, not just for yourself, but your staff, knowing and finding where everything is and being able to access it quickly. I rearranged the whole storage space after my first off season there, just before the second season, like it just got done weeks before, and it made a big difference that second season. Like I hung everything in the back that was hung in the store. We didn't have it folded in the back. I took the extra time to just get that done, and anybody could then go back there and they can find it because they can see the item, they can see the color, they can quickly see what the design is, and then it's all organized by size. So it's easy to search and find things. If say I was sick on a normal day and somebody from the ticket office had to help a customer, like they could go in the back and cakewalk.
I like that a lot. Yeah, it's just I used to work in retail many moons ago. I worked in a lot of stores, a lot of clothing stores. I did my fair share of folding. Still to this day, I actually have a board that I keep at home where I fold all my shirts the way I did folded the shirts when I was at the store. I worked American Eagle, J. Crew. I worked all of them. I worked for every single one of them, and I enjoyed it. J. Crew, Old Navy. Um, and I appreciate when I see a store where like you compare the store itself, what the customers see to what only the employees see. They can go in right back there, grab their stuff, and then go right it. And it makes such a massive difference.
It does. And I increased our storage back there by simply just reversing the setup. I increased it by probably like 60%.
I
So we'll
like.
now hold more product in the back room as well because I've maximized the X and Y axis by just simply flipping certain things around. And because of those orientation, it's like those little puzzles where like you got that random triangle piece. And it's like you can reorganize it to be the same size and fit that piece in, but how do you do it, right? And so I hate Tetris mostly because it's moving and it's all time based. But I tell you what, if there's no time limit, I'm pretty good at piecing different shapes and things together to make them fit. And so in a functional way, that's important. I mean, anybody can just fill a room with stacked boxes and then what? Then you have to empty the whole room to get to one box. Like, no, everything has to be operational.
Yeah, I hated doing that. It's like, oh, I got to go back there. It's like, which box is it? I gotta dig out all this box, and of course, it's the one that's all the way in the corner at the bottom that you have to dig out all of it. Oh, it was such a pain. Oh,
Yeah, or slap picture, but it's like, and sometimes you still have to do that. Like with our hats, like our new era hats, we don't take them out of those boxes. We just redouble like right on them and make sure like the tag that it came with says it, and then a larger version of it says what it is. But like if you can just quickly siphon through things and just visually see things, like it makes everybody's life easier, and the customers are happy too.
absolutely. All right. So you're in Portland. You're loving it there. Your family loves it and all that, and then you get the opportunity to um, really interview and go and come down to Columbia. Tell me about that whole process of going from Portland now to South Carolina.
Yeah, it was tough. It was a tough situation because, as you can see, I love Portland. I loved what I did. I love the community. Had great relationships with the fans and other coworkers and uh, game day staff, and it was amazing. It was a place that I never knew I wanted to live until I lived there. Um, but we always had plans to try to find a way to get down to the southern region, whether it was Tennessee or the Carolinas, and then a little further west, maybe Texas. But getting out here was the biggest thing. Like I said, Portland blessed me with giving me the opportunity to move out there in the time I did, and to get my foot in the door and to do the things I said I would do. Um, and they gave me that opportunity, knowing that there was a chance that it wasn't going to be forever because of just wanting to get out to places. It's crazy how you can mark on an application that you're willing to relocate, but then when people start like, oh, you have kids, like, is 3,000 miles really ideal? So no, Portland gave me the opportunity to really advance myself and to get my name out there. So I do thank them, and uh, we'll love it up there forever. Um, and so an opportunity arose uh, down here in Columbia. I had looked at a couple opportunities down in Jacksonville and some other surrounding city areas that may have been some good peak interest. And then, like I said, I applied for this one, and we went through an interview process and everything, and it was such an amazing experience. I couldn't say no. I've worked with a lot of relative brand names or organizations that have become well known over 20 plus years. Like, even the Volcanoes are not minor league anymore. They were for 20 years. They're pretty well known even to people today. um, they know them, they talk about them. Very reputable um, brand. Great hat, very iconic. Same with the Sea Dogs, though, right? They've been around for 30 plus years, very reputable. And that's fun. I like doing that, but I've always wanted to work with a newer or a younger organization that's building and trying to grow into that. Um, and this was one of those opportunities. I had looked at maybe trying to work there earlier, a couple of years back, and it just didn't work out. It was for a graphic design position, not merchandise at the time. Um, and so, all these steps led to that. But yeah, I'm very thankful, very blessed. Got here. They very timely in allowing me to relocate and to get down here. Much shorter drive. It only took us 2.5 days, moving at the same pace. uh, didn't have as much fun, but we did stop, we did rest, we did eat, and but it was just a shorter trip. We skipped going through the cities. We didn't go through Philly. We didn't go through DC. We went inland to Pennsylvania and then down the center. So we went through VT territory and stuff when we went through Virginia, and it was a good drive. Um, but yeah, that's kind of like how we got down there, um, and it's been fun since. So
What was the very first thing you did? You walked into the Fireflies and you're like, all right, what is my first thing that I'm going to do now that I'm fully employed, I'm working, it's how that happened.
I showed up in Sea Dog gear, and no, I'm just kidding. Uh, I thought about it, but no, I down there we got settled. Um, After that, I went in a couple days before my first day, um, just walked through the place because I hadn't physically walked through it yet. It's all been through video or phone conversation or pictures and stuff, and so I just wanted to see it with my wife and my kids, let them run around the concourse and see the ballpark, and it was a good experience. Found out it was on a day that not everywhere would be like this, but it was what was it? I forget what the holiday's called. But it was a special holiday, and most of the staff weren't in, so no one knew I came by. And I thought I was going to meet a bunch of people, um, and so I started a week later after that, and I thought I was going to start working not on a homestand, but I misread the schedule, and it was a back-to-back homestand. So I started the second homestand, thinking I had a week to get things ready for the next homestand, and
Yikes.
head deep. Let's just say that.
That's insane. Like, And we all make this mistake. It's like, oh yeah, like, we're going to go to the game and everything. It's like, oh no, they're not playing, or they're like, I thought I was gonna ease myself into. It's just nope. Turn on the full hose. Here we go.
And I'd say, with my experience and my awareness and knowledge and stuff, I think that actually worked out better for me. Even if I didn't intend for it to happen, it was kind of like a sign, like, hey, you can do this, but like you're probably going to be way better off doing it this way than you would if you didn't. And I did. I learned a lot. Just seeing how the customers interact, met some of the season ticket holders that had been waiting a couple weeks for me to show up. So I got, I was warm welcome by a handful of people. Actually, one of our season ticket holders at the beginning of the season actually was moving to Portland, and they were looking at becoming season ticket holders up there. So they spent a weekend up there and met one of my staff members that actually moved from Spartanburg area. So he's from down here, and he's like, "Oh, Kevin," and like, so yeah. When they came back, they talked to me, and they were like, "Yeah, we really loved it there. We're definitely probably going to become season ticket members." And I was like, "Or you could stay here." No, I'm just kidding. I told him, "No, I'll get you. You'll be very well taken care of. Good accommodations." And so, like, a very warm welcome. Like, people in the South, definitely conversation starters. Definitely there to see, like, if you need anything, or like, just very kind and polite. So that was that. It was an enjoyable welcoming. I did learn a lot though through interactions of watching how people flowed in and out of the store. My boss told me that the week prior to me showing up, they did a whole like thorough sweep and vacuum and mopping of the store. So they took everything out, and then they put most of it back in, but felt like it was too much and took a bunch of stuff off. And I was like, okay, we'll see how this goes as I get to know the product. But I ended up putting like all those racks back out, but we spent the next week, me and my intern, we tore one wall down, and then once that started, we rotated everything in the store and relayed it, the visual merchandising out, and it made a world of difference because of how we ended up, like we were talking about earlier, XY axis. The way that we ended up moving things, it actually opened up opportunity to bring those racks out without them feeling cluttered. You had a path of destination. So you weren't like looking down one way and you just see a sea of racks and didn't know what to do or go. Like there's a clear alleyway. We had focal points. We put a jersey wall up down there, and then just to the side of it, you see the hat wall. Which, as you walk across the concourse through the windows, you see the hat wall. But when you first come through the doors, you don't. But you know it's down that way. So now you have to walk down there, right? A good rule of thumb for that one is think of like grocery shopping, right? We all do it, whether you like it or not. But what are some things that you need the most? Milk, bread, eggs, cheese. Maybe if you're lactose tolerant, maybe not some of those things. But even then, the non-dairy or the lactose-free versions are all in the same places. They're in the back. They know you have to get them. They know you know where they are. And so you walk through the whole store to get to them. And so you got to use those same proven situations, even in sports merchandising, right? It's retail. It's all retail. It doesn't matter what you're selling.
It's funny. It's something that you never think about, right? But like, you're such a student of your craft, so you have to study that, right? Not just, a lot of people tell you, it's like, listen, when you're about to do something, don't just look at what you're doing, or like in your specific sport. Look at other sports, or look at other stores, or look at other non-sports items that can definitely help you. For example, like you said, it's such a great comparison. The grocery store, we know where the milk and the eggs and the cheese and all of that is going to be. We all know that, all the way in the back, usually all the way in the corner in the back.
Yeah, whether what store you're going to, right? If it's Walmart, obviously it's in the back of the grocery section, just straight back. But if it's like a Safeway or a Kroger or something, it's you enter on the right side of the building, so it's in the far left corner, right? It's always the furthest away.
Yeah, and you don't think about those things, right? Because it becomes second nature to you. But like like you have to go there. And then what do? They fill it up with all their like trinkets and all this other stuff. And to get to catch your eye to be like, oh, I didn't think I like this. I need this. So like you're just like, yeah, I'm gonna get you to the destination, the final destination. But in the meantime, I'm also gonna get you to look at other things that are Fireflies branded that you definitely wanna get.
Well, and the problem that we were seeing that first week is that people would come through the door and the hats were on this first wall just to the right, just right there, right in front of you. People would go there, and it's like, great, here's another fun fact: like number one selling item in baseball or sports alone, but baseball most, are hats. It's the number one selling item. So like, it's great. Obviously, people are going to go to the hats and want to buy them, but nobody ever went down the far leg of the shop to the right unless there was too many people at the hat wall. So people weren't going down there because they really wanted to. People weren't going down there at all if they didn't have to, because they all were just migrating towards the hats. And we had to change that because it's like people need to see there's more going on. There's more to offer. So we turned that wall into the ladies section. So the first thing you see is boom, women's. And there is a small hat section there. But the main hat wall, the majority of hats, adjustable, flex fit, fitted, are all to the right just before the end. And the first thing you see when you look down that way is the jerseys. Two very big key items. And so now you have to go down there. And everybody that does want hats, they go that way. Another thing, we didn't move it, but we rearranged it. Just to the left, first thing you see in the door is the kids section. Boom. Kids just come in the door and they just flee to it. Just so now you have to go two different ways to get to everything.
Interesting. Interesting. It's like you're just thinking about like what is up, everybody, and thank you for joining again with this interview. Now, here's the thing. I am going to now introduce a new segment on this podcast. It is with my good friend Paul Caputo. What he's going to do is he is going to discuss now a little bit about the current team, right? The Columbia Fireflies, their logo, and a little bit of history on how that logo came about. Hope you guys enjoy it. And without further ado, I'll give you the little interview segment. All right. Well, welcome everybody to the Data Chronicles podcast. This is an extra segment, which I have my good friend and fellow co-founder of Corporate Media, Mr. Paul Caputo, podcaster as well. I'm sorry, I apologize.
What are you apologizing for?
You're a podcaster. You are a reporter. You write articles. And then of course, if we had Patrick here,
it would be a whole long list.
Exactly. So we're not going to do that, because we're going to leave that up to him. But
yeah,
how are you today, my friend?
Ed Rivera, I'm doing very well. It's a 3-day weekend, and we're in the middle of a 3-day weekend as we're recording this. And that makes me happy, and I'm always happy to be talking to you, my friend, about minor league baseball logos.
Of course.
Right?
I'm drinking a lot of water. I've been so dehydrated, so
that's good. Listen, I'm an old man, and I just got my second shingles vaccine shot, and so I was knocked for a loop yesterday. It was sort of
you were loopy.
I was just sort of draggy and a little feverish, and today I'm better. But I should probably be drinking more water.
I actually, on Friday morning, I pulled my back again.
Oh, boy.
So this weekend has been me sitting around a lot, especially today, even though I did some laundry, folded a lot of laundry, but it was sitting down, taking breaks, heat pad, the whole 9 yards. Anyways, listen, I digress here.
Yeah.
The reason why we're here is we are going to be talking about the Columbia Fireflies, right? As you know, you write about that on the sportslogos.net. And I want you to tell me a little bit about the Columbia Fireflies. Why the Fireflies? What, how that came about, all of that fun stuff.
Let me ask you a question about not this team and not this logo, but the particular insect that we're talking about. What do you call them? Do you call them fireflies?
So there's fireflies and then there's lightning bugs.
Yeah, they're the same thing. But
Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
I call them lightning bugs.
I call them lightning bugs too.
Is that a northern thing?
I think it might be a northern thing, but guess what? Columbia, South Carolina is also lightning bug country. So by all rights, this team should have been the Columbia or the Carolina Lightning Bugs. That's what I think. But they went with Fireflies. I don't know if that was, maybe the design firm that they were working with was influencing them. The design firm was Atlanta-based Sky Design. So it's not one of the big firms. It's not your Brandioses or your Dan Simons or your Ryan Fooses or your Sky Dillons. It was Sky Design, different from Sky Dillon.
I was just going to ask that question. I was like, wait, hold on. So this is a totally different one than Sky Dillon.
Yeah. Sky Dillon is SKYE. Sky Design out of Atlanta, SKY, no E on it. So
interesting. See, I'm learning always something new here with you.
But this is, first of all, it was super, super well received. I don't want to get too much into like the franchise history, but this team was the Savannah Sand Gnats.
I like that logo, by the way.
It was a fun logo.
Yes.
Yeah. But they went from being named from one bug to another bug between 2015 and 2016, which in its own way kind of paved the way for the Savannah Bananas, right? Like would we have the Savannah Bananas if the Fireflies hadn't moved, if this franchise hadn't moved, right? Like, so it's pretty interesting. In general, this logo was sort of based on, the idea of sort of like summertime. There's like a jar where, because kids are always catching lightning bugs. There's, actual like flames. There's an FF logo it's made of like flames. There is a lightning bug itself. And so they're really playing off of, the sort of summertime notion of lightning bugs, fireflies. Right. Certainly brings me back to my childhood when I'm out there, like playing wiffle ball. I picture like 9:00 at night, in the summertime in August in the, suburbs of Philly. The sun it's getting dark and you can picture the lightning bugs out there lighting up, and you shift from sports to tag or catching lightning bugs or whatever. True. So that's part of it. But then the major thing is there are 3 places in the whole world where the phenomenon of synchronous fireflies happens. And I don't know what other episode or what other segments you've had on this episode already, who's been talking about what. But synchronous fireflies are this phenomenon where lightning bugs essentially start blinking in unison, like a hive mind, right? Like it's an episode
really?
of Corvus. Yeah. They're blinking in unison together, right? Like, and it's, and scientists have not like fully explained it. It happens in 3 places in the whole world. It happens in Great Smoky Mountains National Park.
Okay, I can see that.
In the U.S. It happens in Malaysia. And guess what? I have seen this phenomenon in Malaysia. I've actually been like on a canoe in a river in Malaysia where this was happening.
And it's all like, of them just...
There's like Christmas lights in the bushes, basically. And they're just blinking. And
all of them at the same time.
All of them together at the same time. It's like Christmas lights on a string, right? Like it's like something is connecting them. One of the third place where this happens is in South Carolina, Congaree National Forest, managed by our own National Park Service. It is a site where you can like once a year, I forget what time of year it is. It's like springtime. It's like May or something like that. But these lightning bugs. So 2 of the 3 places where this happens in the whole world are in the United States and in the Southeast in the United States. And the other one is way the heck over in Malaysia. And so it's this wild phenomenon. And this is like, I don't know, like 45, 50 miles away. That number could be a little bit wrong, but it's close to Columbia, South Carolina. And, I would never have known this about Columbia anyway. I would never have known this about South Carolina had it not been for minor league baseball and the stories that minor league baseball teams tell.
I would have never thought that ever in my life would have known that. Because obviously in Cleveland we have them, right? But it's just like they're not all of them are in unison.
Yeah.
Obviously there's 3 places in the world, which is crazy to think.
Yeah.
Tennessee, how big this world is.
Tennessee, South Carolina, and Malaysia. I'd love to know how like the evolution that took place there, made that happen. But Yeah, I mean, it's super interesting, and they don't. Yeah, I mean, I think with their brand here, they sort of tie more into just like the summertime fun of of Fireflies, and like especially the one with like the jar where kids are catching them and whatnot. But they're one of just a couple of teams that we know of that has done glow in the dark on field branding.
True.
The first team to do that was the Casper Ghosts, just
I
north of
remember
me
this.
up there in Wyoming. Of course, the Asheville Tourists have done this, and then the Columbia Fireflies. So there's a few teams out there that have done glow in the dark uniforms, and then of course I mean nothing like what you've seen with what's that thing that you saw
Oh,
with
that's right. With they did it last year in Durham.
yeah
The chili peppers,
yeah
the glomojis,
right yeah, like so it's nothing like that. They're not like turning the
cosmic
lights out
baseball.
and playing in the
That's what
dark
they're
like
calling
that.
it.
Cosmic baseball, right, that's it. So yeah, so this is one of those things, like I always try to say, like, how you can tell the story of America one logo at a
Right.
time. What a cool thing to know about our natural environment, right? Like, and it's Tennessee, Great Smoky Mountains and Great Smoky Mountain National Park in
Mhm.
Tennessee, and then Congaree National Forest, which I had also not really heard of. I was not super familiar with Congaree National Forest.
Cool name.
Yeah. So just a really distinctive logo, a cool distinctive brand. The glow in the dark yellow combined with the dark blue and the sort of lighter gray, like that glow in the dark really stands out. Um, so controversial to call them the Fireflies instead of the Lightning Bugs. I think Lightning Bugs would have been a cool name as well, and then they could have done stuff with like lightning bolts, kind of like the Windy City Thunderbolts do.
Yeah.
But it's very when they were the Sand Gnats, right? Like they were this really sort of cartoonish, a little bit like the old Skeeters, right? Like the
Mm,
Sugarland
mm.
Skeeters. It's just like we're gonna name ourselves off like the most annoying
Little
bug
bug.
that we can
Yeah.
think of.
Although I
And
still miss I miss the
yeah,
Skeeters to this day.
the Skeeters were a fun brand, and yeah, like I don't know, the switch in my mind to the Space Cowboys was a little bit like the major league team sort of stepping in and
The
taking itself a little too
corporatization
seriously. Yeah.
of baseball.
So that was, that's a little bit of a bummer. I miss the Skeeters as well. I mean, I don't think that the Space Cowboys is a bad brand. It just is sort of generic to me. Like it doesn't feel terribly interesting to me.
Yeah, I
Um,
agree.
but this is one where they went from like the sand gnats, like they're the worst possible insect you can think of, right? Like in my mind, like worse than like wasps or hornets because they're tiny, you can't see them, and they have like little like razor blade shards of glass biters, and
Yeah.
they just swarm and they get you. So they went from like the most annoying bug you could possibly think of to like maybe the second most endearing bug that you could think of, maybe third after like ladybugs and butterflies. It's the lightning bug, the firefly. I don't know. I'll be curious to know what your listeners think of that. Who's the most endearing bug out there? The most enduring bug is probably the cockroach, right? But the most endearing bug, is it a ladybug? Is it a firefly? Is it a butterfly?
Yeah, that's
A bumblebee?
yeah, that's a lot, man. I'm looking online. It's like if they have it's like their logo was so cool though because you had the sand gnat with the swinging the bat. You know what I mean? It was
Yeah.
such a cool iconic logo. Obviously, there has to be evolution to baseball, and we get that. I understand that.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with the Fireflies. Don't get me wrong, guys.
Sure.
I like the Fireflies logo. I think it's great. I think it's beautiful.
Yeah.
I do like because we we were having the discussion is that there is a special kind of stitching that is used on the hats in order for it to glow in the dark, which is pretty damn cool.
Yeah.
So they're mimicking the Firefly, right? You got the Firefly. You also have the one hat with the mason jar as well that they do that. So that's a cool one.
Yeah.
If you have not seen that hat, you should definitely take a look at it, Mr. Caputo.
I don't have a dad hat from them. I thought about that when you asked me to come on the podcast. I was like, let me, get myself my Fireflies cap. And then I was horrified to realize that I don't have one, nor do I have a t-shirt. I don't have any Fireflies gear.
Really?
And it should not be surprising to you after you hear that I've never been to a game there. So
It's a beautiful ballpark, and then
yeah,
now that when people hear this, they're gonna say, "Hey, Mr. Caputo,
got to
you
get you
need to
down here.
come. You need to come down here."
Donnie Wise
And
is going to be horrified.
of course, and he has great seats, of course, as he does.
Yeah.
He knows everyone there. There are some great dad hats in here, so just so you know, and just wanted to put that out there for you, my friend.
Yeah. Do you know? So Sky Design in Atlanta has done a lot of work with NBA teams, in particular the Atlanta Hawks.
I can see that.
Yeah. But if I'm not mistaken, there was one other team that they've worked with in minor league baseball. And I don't think you would ever guess it because it's a very different, distinctive kind of brand. It's the Fort Wayne Tin Caps.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
I actually like the Tin Caps logo. I mean, they've done a really good job on both of them.
Yeah. Yeah.
But they don't work on that, huh? Interesting.
Who doesn't work on what?
They don't really work on baseball. They do mostly basketball.
Yeah, a lot of basketball stuff, a lot of stuff with the Hawks. Yeah. Now I have been to a Tin Caps game, and I really like that logo, the little apple with the metal hat in honor of Johnny Appleseed, Mr. John Chapman himself. But yeah, that's a fun brand. To my knowledge, those are the only minor league baseball brands that they have worked on. So
okay, all right.
But they both have been successful, I would say. I mean, this Fireflies brand is a good one. There's a lot of stuff sort of like swirling around them. Like you see, they do a good job of creating that effect of like you're out in the summertime and you just see these fireflies. But I don't know how you would, in a static logo, represent the idea of blinking synchronous fireflies all at once.
True.
Like
that's true.
Yeah. But, you're not that far from that. I mean, it would be interesting to look that up to see.
I have been down to this ballpark.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Okay.
I have to now go back and try to find exactly where this is so I can see the fireflies in synchronicity.
Yeah. Yeah. When I wrote about this team on sportslogos.net, I called it a Christmas in springtime wonderland of lightning bugs blinking in unison.
Look at you and your use of words.
I know words, and this was before AI was doing everyone's writing for them.
What? That I would never use AI to
You would never.
email.
You would never. I will say this: I don't use AI when I write for sportslogos.net. That's for sure. I write all my own words.
Well, I mean, isn't that your degree?
It is. I'm a journalism. I did study journalism at the University of Richmond, so I'm
Richmond Spiders.
I go Spiders. I'm obligated to fight the Skynet robots for as long as I can here, but
no, and I get it. Listen, there's we're getting out of and this is a whole different podcast, for AI. So
sure.
Is there anything else that we should know about this logo, the Fireflies? Obviously, they got a number of different logos. They got a couple of theme nights. They got the grits, the chicharrones. We don't talk about Marvel on this podcast. We're not going to do that.
Yeah. I appreciated when they did the grits food-based alternate. Not every team puts their alternate brands on Helmet Sunday. And I love a Helmet Sunday.
I know you do.
Both the grits and the chicharrones, apologies for my pronunciation.
No, you did good.
All right. That didn't really roll my R, though. I felt
well, you didn't, but it's okay. I'll forgive you. There it is.
That they put those brands on their on their ice cream helmets. I appreciate that. I think that's fun. The chicharrones and the grits are very, very different brands from if you talk about brand equity, like trying to sort of integrate those alternate brands with the Fireflies, it's just like, as with many alternate brands, and I think this is more common than not, there's no like real relationship between one brand and the other brand. Mm-hmm. So the grits is a really fun sort of cartoon food-based one, whereas the chicharrones I think is pretty interesting because it's one of the Copa brands. But it basically features like a butcher's diagram of a pig.
That is true.
Yeah, and so for that one, I think that it is, it's different from a lot of the other Copa ones, and I know that these teams cycle their Copa brands in and out, kind of like Major League Baseball does with the City Connect uniforms, and
Mhm.
so
There's a life, there's an expiration date
yeah, 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 yeah.
on these logos.
I bought a Phillies City Connect hat, and as weird as this might sound, I kind of wish I hadn't. Like, I wish I hadn't fallen for it because, first of all, I don't even like it that much. It's got the Liberty Bell on it, which annoys me because I think it's overused. And they're going to cycle it out after 3 years. So, like, our stands at Major League Baseball games just going to be filled with people wearing
Different caps? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So,
I mean, people in Cleveland still wear Cleveland Indian stuff.
well, sure, yeah, and I think that that's going to be forever, right? Like,
They'll never
yeah,
never stop. Obviously,
yeah,
hell, I still got Cleveland Indian stuff.
sure, yeah.
I'm not getting rid of it.
No, because it's part of the team's history, right? Like,
History.
that makes sense. But to me, I think about these teams that have had like all these different colored brands over the years, and then like people will wear their old stuff to games, and then you look at the stands. Like, I love going to a Phillies game, and it's just like a sea of red in the stands, right?
Correct.
Like, but then you think about these teams that have had all these different colors in their brands over the years, and people wearing them all to the game, and they're all different colors. So,
well, I think Major League Baseball finally, in my opinion, they finally got smart with the with merchandising.
Yeah,
and they know that we will buy things. And so
minor league baseball led the way, right? Like, so it's
they're the pioneers of it.
The ice cream helmet Hall of Fame in the out there behind me is a testament to that, right? Like, I mean, there's not
the ever-growing Hall of Fame.
The ever-growing Hall of Fame. It's a little quieter during the off season. Stuff doesn't show up in the mail the same way that it usually does. But I've got like a handful of things from the Fireflies, right? Like, I've got, the chicharrones, and I've got the grits, and then I've got a couple of different Fireflies ones. So they know we're going to keep buying stuff.
There it is.
I had minor league baseball in Colorado, I would buy stuff for those teams.
Well, it's how it goes, my friend. That's how it goes.
Yeah.
Mr. Caputo, thank you so much, my friend. Where can people find you on all of the socials?
Just look for Baseball by Design, Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky, Baseball by Design podcast on Facebook.
Wait, you do a podcast?
It's called the Baseball by Design podcast, and that's what it's called on Facebook, because somebody else like snatched up Baseball by Design on Facebook.
So you have to put the.
So you got to put podcast at the end of it.
Oh Lord, I mean the humanity.
I've got 33 followers on my Facebook page because I started it just like a couple of weeks ago. So,
congratulations!
If anyone listening to this wants to go find the Baseball by Design podcast and give it a follow, percentage-wise, that would help a lot. But
and make sure you subscribe, like it, and all that fun stuff. Right?
Like, subscribe, rate, review, subscribe. That's what
rate,
they say,
review,
right?
subscribe. There it is.
So but hey. You inspired me. I say this every time we talk. You inspired me to start a podcast, and it's been one of the most fulfilling things I've ever done. I have a great time with it. So
it's a lot of fun, isn't it?
It is, and I'm thrilled to be a guest again on the Dad Hat Chronicles, and I'm thrilled to see all of the cool different things that you're doing out there in the world with your live shows and your every third email I get is YouTube telling me that a channel I've subscribed to has gone live. And I only subscribe to one channel.
It's mine. And I got like 1,000 shows, guys. I'm sorry. I apologize, but I do.
That's fine.
Guys, thank you so much. You know what? Here's what I'm going to do. We're going to end it here because this is literally the end of the episode, right? We are going to, this segment going forward, I'm going to have you come back. And we talk about the team that I have interviewed and all that. And I want to give them a little bit of history, a little background on the logo and all that stuff. So guys, make sure you subscribe to the Data Chronicles podcast, to the Baseball by Design. I just butchered completely that, but thank you so much for not saying anything. And also go to corporatemedia.com so that way you guys are always in the know when there's new episodes coming up with every single one of us. Okay. How's that? That sounded pretty good, didn't it?
You did, and you know what? You do a great job keeping up on the Curve Brim Media social medias. You didn't ask for that job, but someone had to do it.
I had to. Yeah,
right. You're doing a good job with it. So
it's fun. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, it is fun. Curve Brim Media.
That's right. But for those that are watching on YouTube, make sure you hit the subscribe button, share this video, share the episode if you're listening to it with someone that you know that would definitely enjoy this. Make sure you follow Mr. Paul Caputo right here. He does great stuff, bringing out new logo designs and also interviewing the people that are, in the business of minor league baseball.
So much fun.
It is so much fun. That's right. And then we will see you guys in the next one. Okay, bye. Y ya no hay más que hablar. Lo que fue bonito, pero lo que duele más es lo que no se ha escrito.
This podcast is part of the Curved Brim Media Network. Here are some of the other members of Curved Brim Media.
Hi, this is Kelly Robinson, the Minor League Nerd. My YouTube channel explores the history of minor league baseball teams. More than just stats, we delve into team lineage, sharing stories from current franchises to obscure one-year wonders.
I'm Paul Caputo, and on the Baseball by Design podcast, I talk to minor league baseball teams, designers, and other super interesting people about what these minor league baseball logos mean, and I talk a little bit about ice cream helmets.
What's up, Bucketheads? I'm Anna DiTomaso, and each week on the Baseball Bucket List podcast, I speak with a different fan about their favorite baseball memories, what the game means to them, and what's left to check off on their baseball bucket list.
Hey everyone, it's Eric from the great state of Kansas.
This is Johnny from the New Orleans Baby Cakes Memorial Museum.
And we are the Earn Fun Average podcast,
where we talk to a variety of guests about their love of baseball and have fun doing it.
America, lower your standards.
Average is what we do best.
This is Patrick
and Corey
of BaseballMapper.com, and we have made an interactive map to help highlight all baseball teams from the majors down to collegiate summer leagues.
We want to bring you closer to baseball, so get on the site and find a team near you today.
Hey guys, this is Patrick Larson from the Minor League Baseball Hat History Series, and in every episode I go through the history of minor league teams through my personal collection of hats. You can find me on Twitter at @PatLarson1. I hope you guys enjoy.
Learn more about Curved Brim Media at curvedbrimmedia.com.